And just like that, folks, welcome back. Welcome back to the Two Man Front podcast with my boy with the fog of objectively biased sports, who's finally freed up a little bit of free time for us. He's left us hanging a little bit there. And then, of course, myself, your boy, Be Easy Sports from Be Easy Sports and Entertainment. Welcome again, like I said, to the Two Man Front. We are really looking forward to you guys, man. We're looking forward to you talking to you guys, talking some football today. We got a lot of coaching change. We got a lot to get to, so we're gonna jump right into it. But first, Fog, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. Can't
Good,
complain.
man.
We did a game-winning drive, and now we're here with Two Man Front podcast.
It's like it was like it was 2 days ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Right? Hey, I'm happy for you, man. I'm glad to see you again, man. It's good to have you back. But let's jump right into it, man. Let's talk about these guys on the screen. We got some legends, some coaching legends. This week has been crazy with legends just retiring left and right. Obviously, these two you see on the screen, these two friends, Bill Belichick and Nick Saban, retiring. And then, of course, I'm sorry. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Please take your QR code and go ahead and go ahead and click that QR code and go to the YouTube channel. Watch it on YouTube and on BZ Sports and Entertainment. And also, you can also subscribe in that corner right there too while I move on. But like I was saying, we had some legends move on from us, man. We had some big legends move on from us. Pete Carroll out of nowhere, shocking all of us, stepping down as the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Nick Saban, honestly, wasn't a huge shock to me, but still, it made some waves, right? It made some waves. And then obviously, Bill Belichick, I mean, he's been like the last 2 years, he's been kind of on the way out, but still, nevertheless, a shock. Fog, what are your thoughts about this week, man? What does this mean for the NFL and college football?
It means nothing. It's just a changing of the guard. We've seen this before. It's happened before. And so this is a changing of the guard. We're not seeing anything new. It's just these guys have been around for so long. We're so accustomed to this that now that, ironically, the three are leaving at the time they're leaving, it's like shocking. It's like, even for me, I'm like, oh shit.
The timing was crazy.
Yeah. I didn't see this happening with all of them. But when you think about it, you look at Bill Belichick, he's clearly, Patriots are not the same. He's not the same. He's one of those guys that look in the rear view mirror. And I'll be honest with you, Nick Caserio might have done more for that team GM-wise, helping him out in the later years.
That's facts.
Than Bill Belichick did, because I think we saw Bill Belichick do what Chip Kelly did. Bill Belichick, the GM, got in the Bill Belichick coach's way completely. So it's fitting. Nick Saban, look, I think he's tired. I'll be honest with you. If I don't know who said that. That's funny.
Hey, by the way, we appreciate the comments. Keep them coming. It keeps the show entertaining. Please go ahead and please join us in the conversation. We'll put you on the show and we'll make sure we read every comment. I appreciate that. And that is something AB would say. It's Drew. It was Drew.
Oh, Drew. Drew, we love you, man.
Something AB. That is something AB would definitely say.
With Nick Saban, look, I think the guy got tired. If NIL and transfer portal happened 20 years ago, 15 years ago, he wouldn't be calling it quits. But you got to think about it, being you like me, know college football. You are now, as a head coach in college football, recruiting the players that you recruited so they don't fucking leave.
So they don't leave.
On top of everything else, you've got an extra job to do. And you know what? At 72 years of age, quality of life and what you've got left, family-wise, he's made the money he needs to make.
Yeah, he's good.
You know what? You got to sit back. Pete Carroll, I'm surprised at. That's the most shocking for me. Because Pete Carroll, you watch that man on the sidelines. He's 72 years old, just like Nick Saban. But, man, that man is an energetic 72-year-old man. He loves the sidelines. You watch him on the field. This guy loves this shit. So to see him now take a back seat, he's still with Seattle. He's not going away. He loves this game. He loves what he's doing.
Yeah.
Him not being a head coach is probably the most surprising to me because of his passion for the game. The other two kind of expected, but again, watching Carroll, watching him on the sideline, that passion that he provides, that's the most surprising to me, because why wouldn't you want a guy that is still that passionate about the game and still a very good coach?
Nah, yeah. I mean, all these were pretty not shocking. Bill Belichick wasn't shocking. That was time. That's 24 years at one place. That was time. Everybody saw the writing on the wall. It wasn't super shocking. More of a it's almost more of like a end of an era moment for Bill Belichick. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's time to move on. I still think he loves the game. I still think he wants to coach. And we'll get into we'll get into that in a little bit in terms of how he'll do. Nick Saban was a shock to me only because of how close he got to winning this year. They were a bounce of the ball away from winning another, at least getting to the national championship. I don't know if they would have won the national championship. I think they would have beat Washington, but they were really close. And he didn't really seem like he was tired. I know I was reading some articles where he was every interview he had, he was talking about gratitude and other stuff. I get all that, but still, I felt man, you were just in the college football playoff 2 weeks ago. So I thought, and he had a good recruiting class coming in. He got some guys. He has the number one quarterback in California coming in, coming in, Jason Slane or something like that. But he's coming in, and I'm not sure what his future is now. But that was a little bit of a shock to me, but I agree with you, Fogg. I think at some point, kind of like Mike Krzyzewski, Jim Boeheim, all these guys who are dealing with NIL are just tired. It's really, you're not, like you said, you're re-recruiting. You can't just recruit these guys once. You got to re-recruit them to stay, right? And that can wear on you, man. And honestly, this is no knock on Nick Saban either. No knock. I do feel like there's a little bit of running going on, because I do feel going from 4 to 12 teams next year, season's going to be a little longer. You got to win a couple more games to win a national championship. I get it. If I'm Nick Saban, I'm like, you know what? I don't need this. I've got 7 national championships. I've won in every era, BCS era,
nothing
playoffs,
else to fucking prove.
Nothing else to prove. I don't need to do this bigger playoffs to let other teams win. I'm out. Carroll was the biggest shock. I think we all agree with that. Mm-hmm. Carroll was the biggest shock, because Carroll does seem like he still has a fire in him. But then upon reflection, Fogg, this kind of goes to our next topic. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. Which one of these coaches had the best run? And here's why. This is going to be crazy. This is why I'm choosing Carroll. I think Carroll.
How the fuck are we on the same page and we didn't discuss this?
I think Carroll had the best run, because think about this. I think, and look, we're college football guys, right?
Yes.
And look, and even before he got to USC, he was in the NFL, didn't work out. I think it was at the Jets and the Browns, I believe, something like that. I forget what teams he was with. Right? Okay, yeah. Then he gets to USC when USC was absolutely nothing in the 90s and in the early 2000s. They were nothing. People don't realize USC was not always USC. 80s, 70s, they were great. They had a time in the 80s. 90s, they were just nothing. 2000s, early 2000s, they were nothing. Well, they were coming up because of him. He got there, and I believe in 2000, they get to the Orange Bowl, beat Iowa, Carson Palmer, and then things take off with Reggie Bush. Matt Leinart wins national championships. He's the man. And they're like the NFL team of LA. Then he leaves to the NFL. Everyone calls him stupid, right? Not really. He gets away before all those sanctions come. And then he gets to the Seattle Seahawks. And then I don't want to use the word dominates, because he didn't really dominate in the NFL, but he's consistent. Really consistent teams. He gets to the Super Bowl a couple of times. He wins ones. He creates the Legion of Boom, drafts Russell Wilson in the 3rd round. I mean, And then he continues to win a lot of games. I think he only missed the playoffs like what? I think he was there for 16 seasons, I believe, in Seattle, I believe 16 seasons, and he only missed the playoffs. I think it was like 2 or 3 losing seasons. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but he was very consistent, like up there with like Mike Tomlin consistent about winning games, right? The Seahawks were always in the running for at least a playoff run or a Super Bowl. That was Pete Carroll. I think that's a little more impressive going from college and then getting to the NFL and kind of doing the same thing. He didn't win as much as the other guys, right? He only has 1 Super Bowl, should have 2. He only has 1 Super Bowl. But I think what he did at USC in Seattle is a little more impressive, especially since we all know what happened to Nick Saban in Miami.
Yeah.
You know, so I think he had the best run, right? We agree on that, right?
No, I'm 100% on board. Yeah. When you look at Pete Carroll's career, again, you said it. Out of the 13 years he was in Seattle, he only missed the playoffs 3 times. He has 1 Super Bowl. And then when you look at his college career, he's got an NCAA championship. He was an AP national champion in 2002, 2003, and 2004. He's got 4 Rose Bowl championships, 2 Orange Bowl championships, 7 Pac-10 champion. Like, are you kidding me? If we're talking about coaching careers and overall coaching careers for these guys, and look, Belichick wasn't in the college ranks. Saban failed at the NFL. Pete Carroll exceeded in both college and the NFL. I'm 100% with you there.
So, all right. So I'm going to go back and read some of these comments. So somebody said, they're all old. I'm tired of folks acting like grandfathers tiring is a wild.
It's not a wild revelation. We're just acknowledging the fact that we're seeing guys who have been there for over damn near a decade and a half. These guys are actually leaving. It's appreciation, not a shocking, wild revelation. Yeah. And appreciating what they've done.
What they've done. And I do think that, like, in a way, Belichick's not really going out on top. But Saban and Carroll are kind of going out somewhat on top. Like, Saban was in the college football playoff. Pete Carroll didn't make the playoffs, but the team was still pretty good. Like, it's not like they're going out bad, right? They're not going out pretty bad. That's one thing. What else did he say? Not everyone wants. I do agree with this. Not everyone wants to go out. Like, Paterno stayed too long.
Paterno went out also on different terms.
Yeah, and well, I will say this. And in terms of my team, Bowden went out. He stayed too long. Bowden stayed way too long. So I do agree with that. Bowden probably should have retired like 10 years. Not 10 years, like 5 years sooner. Yeah, Woody Hayes was there for a long time. And we're not really comparing. We're just talking about who had the best run. We feel like Pete Carroll went through the ringer, man. Pete Carroll had to fail a lot, right? He failed in the NFL, goes to college, and then comes back and succeeds. That's pretty impressive, in my opinion. That's resiliency. That's pretty impressive in my end. I mean, Bill had to fail.
We're not saying that Pete Carroll's the greatest head coach in college football. We're not saying that Pete Carroll's the greatest head coach in NFL history. What we're saying is his run and what he did all around is the most profound. It's what you look at these guys' resumes. Damn, Carroll has a better resume than the other two because of what he ventured into.
Like overall coaching resume, not just any NFL. Like, obviously, Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach of all time, right? And then obviously Bill Belichick's the greatest NFL coach in a lot of eyes of all time. I'm not saying Pete Carroll is better than either one of those guys in their respective sports. He's not. But
who had the best run?
That was the question. I think Carroll, man, it's underappreciated, and it's clearly showing right now on the show.
That's underappreciated. Fuck that we agree.
It's underappreciated. So, hey, let's go on to our next topic real quick, man. So, look, who's the next man up? Who do we feel like is the next? We can go quick on this. Who do we feel like is the next DeMeco Ryan? Who do you feel like is going to be that next guy who's going to next young guy who's going to come and just kind of blow us out the wall? I know it's kind of a tough question, right? Because you really don't know, right? I know there are a lot of factors that go into it, but who do you think that next dude is gonna be?
Shit, B. I have no idea.
That's tough.
I have no idea because the next man up could be a former head coach, a young head coach.
I'll tell you who I like if you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who you got.
I tell you, so one guy I like a lot. Two guys I like a lot, right? One defensive coordinator, and the other one's an offensive coordinator. Defensive coordinator, I like Mike Macdonald. I think Mike Macdonald from the Ravens DC is going to be a really good coach. I think he's going to be pretty good. Yeah, I think he's someone that you saw him at Michigan, and both Harbaughs rave about him. He's a leader of men. They love him on defense. He lets those guys fly around. He's not as like Wink Martindale was more boxed in, more old school. I like Mike Macdonald because he has a new school feel to him. And I think he's going to be, I think he almost has that D'Amico Ryan vibe to him, as in my opinion. And then look, man, I know this name's going to get floated around a lot. And I know he comes up every year. But Eric Bieniemy is going to be a good coach. I just don't understand why he just doesn't. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I'm not, because I know that's a very, very sensitive topic. I'm not. I just feel like he's going to be a hell of a coach. I just do. I think people are passing up over him. I think if he can get his hands on a quarterback, right, with the resources around him, obviously, right. If he can get his hands on a CJ Stroud, right, I think he's gonna be great. I do. Well, I think he's gonna be great.
I think he's going to wind up with, if he doesn't stay in Washington, he's going to wind up getting another OC job, because I think Washington is going in a different direction. But if I had to take somebody, Gerard Mayo.
That was another guy I looked at too.
I would honestly take Gerard Mayo, because this guy loves football, and there's a passion for it. Antonio Pierce with the Raiders.
I see.
You know who he reminds me of? We're
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell. That can fit in a locker room, and if you have the offensive,
the blueprints
and defensive, you got to have the personnel. You got to have the coordinators around you. You got to have the coaching staff around you for that to succeed. But if you have that type of personnel with that personality as your head coach, you got a recipe for success.
Yeah. I can't deny Antonio Pierce anymore because of what Dan Campbell has done. But you're right. Dan Campbell has a hell of a staff around him, like you said, right? So it's all going to be.
You got to have the staff.
You got to have the staff. Yeah. Like if you didn't have like Ben Johnson around, if you didn't have him as his OC, that's his name, Ben Johnson, the OC for the Lions. Yeah. If you didn't have him, then I think Dan Campbell will be a damn man walking. But yeah, I think they're responding to Pierce, but it seems like they may go another direction. I think he should get a shot. I'm just not sure about the rah-rah. I just don't know. I don't really know if that works a lot. I think it wears on people. I think if you don't win, you're out of it.
Winning cures everything.
Yeah, winning cures everything. Let me go to this question right here. This is a good question, but here's a question. This guy says, how does Saban's run go if Pete didn't have to run to the NFL? And he goes on to say, because he was a recruiting force. He was at the time. Some teams didn't get a chance until he left. It's a good question. I still think Saban dominates because but I do think USC is still a force. I do think USC is still.
They would have been a more prominent factor than what they are now, but Saban is still going to dominate.
Saban is still Saban.
He was turning over NFL players left and right.
Even before Nick left, or Saban left, or I'm sorry, Pete Carroll left for the NFL. Nick Saban was still winning championships, I believe.
Yeah.
Like I think he won one. I think Pete Carroll left what 2010, I believe 2010, 2011, and then I believe Alabama won a national championship in 2009. So I mean, it wasn't really necessarily a problem for Nick, if I may, right? So I mean, but yeah, they knew they were firing old boy. Ain't let Henry be the interim. They will not give him. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be the coach in Washington. Yeah, no. I think that ship has sailed. So I mean, you know, I believe he won't be the coach in Washington. So yeah,
with the change in GM, that GM is bringing who he wants to bring in. So Bieniemy's all but unless that coach wants to keep him there, Bieniemy's all but out.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know, man. It just baffles me, man. It's just one of those things where I just want to see if it happens. If he sucks, then he sucks. Like that's it. Whatever. Like, but if he's good, give him the shot. I don't understand. I don't get it. But hey, Bob, real quick, what's one of these coaching vacancies to you is the best? Now, while you think about this, I actually found this really cool. Well, actually, I can't find it anymore, but I'll put up the cap space for the teams. And what's one of these teams to you is the best spot right now?
Based on cap space, draft capita, I'm going to say the Chargers and the Falcons.
Okay. Chargers, how much cap space do they have? Where are they at? Where are they at? Chargers have, looking at my screen right now, Chargers have about, goodness, I can't see I don't know the Chargers. Oh, they're about, well, they're actually in the negative. They're in the red. They don't have a lot of cap space right now. They don't have much cap space right now.
No, but they're going to be cutting some players.
They'll be cutting some guys. Yeah. At the moment, right now, Washington has the most cap space at 86 million, and Tennessee has 77 million in cap space. That's before they even get rid of Henry and Hopkins and all those other guys. The Patriots have good cap space, right now, and the Bears have 62 million in cap space, and they have the #1 overall pick.
Yeah, but we're talking about best coaching vacancy.
The Bears are not, but they're keeping Eberflus. So actually, it's not. So not the Bears. So it can't be Chicago. Oh man, Seattle. I thought about this. Whoever said this was on my mind today. I thought about this. Seattle, Harbaugh. I thought this would be a good place for him. I really did. I feel like it's gonna be a West Coast team. It's probably gonna be Seattle, or it's going to be LA, the Chargers. I'm pretty curious who's going to be.
I'll tell you right now, bold prediction. I don't think Harbaugh leaves Michigan now with
no, he's out, man.
No, with Saban retiring, you heard it here first. If Harbaugh doesn't go to the NFL, it's because he's going to stay with Michigan to try to build a dynasty the same way Saban did with Alabama.
Yeah, but I don't. No.
Michigan is willing to throw the platter at.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm 100% sure they are. But I think Harbaugh is as good as gone. He's done what he's needed to do at Michigan. He has literally.
Okay, so which one of these teams in the NFL that he could go to is he going to take to a Super Bowl?
In how many years?
Let's say 3 years.
With cap space. This is going to be crazy. I don't think he's going to go here because I don't see him fitting here, and there's no ties here. Washington. They have the cap space and they have the draft capital.
Yeah.
Right? They have the new ownership. Yeah, Bob Mott. Everything is new in Washington. It's like a brand new. It's like an expansion team at this point, right? Like everything is new. Snyder's gone. They got rid of some guys. They have the cap space. They have the picks. They can get Caleb.
Are they going to go after him? Is the question.
that's something I don't know. I think the Raiders want him. I think the Raiders want to splash in Vegas. That's why I think Antonio Pierce did to get a shot. I think the Raiders do want him. And I think and the Chargers. I think he's a Southern California guy. He coached at USC.
Well, the Chargers have a better situation than the Raiders do, in all honesty.
Yeah. I think, but the one connection he has with the Raiders is that Brady own like a piece of the Raiders or something like that? I don't know. Something like and he has the same agent as Brady. So that's something that he said he don't want to live close to his brother. But that's something that I feel like, could entice him. I don't think I think that the Panthers are probably the worst job on this list. I think so. They just are a shit show of a franchise. But Seattle is intriguing though. Seattle has pieces right now. If Seattle can, I love Geno. I don't know what Harbaugh can do with Geno Smith, but Seattle has pieces now. Can they win now? Probably not. But within a couple of years, with the pieces here or there,
well, here's the thing.
Seattle would actually be a good spot.
Here's the thing. If you're right and Michael Penix Jr. dropped his draft stock, that's a second-round pick.
They can grab him behind Geno.
That's a pick you could get in the second round.
Does he like? I don't know how he feels about. I mean, he got a chance to see him up close and personal. I think Harbaugh likes. This is why I think LA is the team, because he likes quarterbacks similar built to Justin. I think he's gonna like Justin Herbert.
I agree.
Justin Herbert is like, it's not JJ McCarthy's not Justin Herbert, but they play similar. Like, he coached Colin Kaepernick, plays very similar to Colin Kaepernick. Obviously, Herbert is better, but they have similar playing styles. Like, if you go back and look at the quarterbacks Harbaugh has coached, they're all similar dudes. They all have these
Andrew
big
Luck
arms.
had the same characteristics.
Andrew Luck had the same characteristics. Big arms, they can run. Big dudes, strong arms. Like, he likes the playmakers. Like, I think Justin Herbert is the guy. I think it's LA. I do. I think if he wants, I don't see him going to the Raiders unless they get Caleb Williams or something like that. I don't really see that happening, but because the Raiders have nothing. There's nothing there.
No.
Right. I would think he's going to go to a team he wants to win right away. Right. So
I would say, Seattle and the Chargers are best vacancies that are open, where you could put a coach in there and like, hey, we could actually turn this around right now. That you're getting immediate return on your investment. The other 5 teams, you ain't getting immediate return.
You're not getting
shit.
No.
You're waiting.
Yeah, you're waiting. And Harbaugh's in his 6th. I don't see him going to the Patriots, the Falcons, the Panthers. I think, I think the best job, in my opinion, on this list is Seattle and in LA. In Washington. Yeah. I think Washington deserves up some credits because they're a brand new team. I'm very interested to see what they do. Very interested to see what they do. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic real quick, man. We got NFL awards, man. This has been a very interesting year for NFL awards. Very interesting. Like, I mean, I don't really think there's a clear-cut guy in any of the categories, right? So let's go ahead and start out, man. First, I want to show this chart to everybody real quick. These are not our picks, but these are pretty much the candidates, though, right? Like, pretty much the candidates that we're going to most likely be picking. But, Fog, MVP, who you got?
The MVP is not in there in those Choices Award because that Choice Award is a best quarterback award. My MVP is Christian McCaffrey. I put that out on a post today. When you look at what CMC has done, he has carried that team. So the fact that they have Brock Purdy 4th and you've got Christian McCaffrey as the 2nd Offensive Player of the Year award, that lets you know that he has done something more significant than the quarterback has done. And, I don't see what's their names? Debo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk anywhere else on there. No, Christian McCaffrey has clearly been the best player in the league this season. And without him, the San Francisco 49ers aren't where they're at. Plain and simple.
I'm actually super surprised at you because when we were doing this show, we were doing our like mid-season MVPs. I feel like we did like a few times. I think we did like an early MVP and mid-season MVP. We both picked this guy, and I'm surprised you when you sent me your picks. I was surprised you got that bandwagon. I really felt like we were on the same page with Lamar. I believe it's Lamar Jackson.
Oh, Lamar's number 2. It was so close for me because I'm looking at Lamar and I'm like, you know how I feel about him. I picked the Ravens preseason to be the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That was you picked the Ravens. That was another thing I was thinking about too. You picked the Ravens and then you went on. Then you kind of shocked me there picking CMC. But I mean, look, CMC definitely deserving. If I had to choose between him and Brock Purdy, it'd be CMC all day, right? If I had to choose between those two, easily CMC, right? No, well, no, easily CMC. Like Brock Purdy is great. He's good to great quarterback, but CMC is literally the reason why everything opens up for that offense, right? Okay, so there's that. But Lamar Jackson, man, again, there isn't a guy in the league, in my opinion, that bears the most responsibility, at least for his offense, than Lamar Jackson. There isn't a man like, and look, you know what's funny about it? I know the Ravens didn't have their full arsenal of guys that season finale against the Steelers. I get it. But come on, look how different the team looked without Lamar. Like, and look, you know what's funny? And you know what's funny about that with Tyler Huntley in there? There was a time where even though they didn't have, I don't think Zay Flowers played. I don't think Odell played. I think the other guys played though, right? I think Isaiah Likely played. There was a time where that's all Lamar Jackson had. He didn't have Odell or Zay Flowers. He had guys like Demetrius Robinson, whoever that is, right? He had some randoms, right? And he's always found ways to win games, right? Always found ways. To me, Lamar Jackson, it goes beyond the numbers. I know his numbers aren't as impressive, but you have to look beyond the numbers.
Yeah.
It's most valuable player to your football team. And last time I checked, before we move on, Lamar Jackson doesn't have a Christian McCaffrey on his team. He doesn't have a Deebo Samuel. He doesn't have a Brandon Ayuk. He doesn't have a Greg Kittle. He doesn't have that line. He doesn't have a Trent Williams blocking his blind side. He doesn't have any of that stuff, right? He doesn't have any of that stuff, right? I mean, actually, he didn't even have Mark Andrews for like a good chunk of the season, right? And that's another reason why I feel like he even is more deserving because he didn't have his best target, even though Zay Flowers has emerged to be he's going to be pretty good, right? And Odell's kind of woken up as well, but it's not unanimous, but I think Lamar is definitely deserving of it outside the numbers, right? Up there, you got Dak Prescott. I agree with that. Josh, I don't understand the Josh Allen thing. I don't get that at all. I just don't get it. And then Brock Purdy. All right. I don't understand it at all. Let's see. Can coordinators win Coach of the Year? I don't know. I do believe there's like.
Well, what coordinator are you looking at?
Oh, Monk. No, I agree. No.
Okay.
No.
Shit.
I 100% agree that. What's the man's first name? I forgot his first name, but yeah, I do agree that is one of the best probably the best hire of the year. So if there's an executive, if who's the DaCosta, is DaCosta the GM for the Ravens?
Yeah, he is.
Eric DaCosta, hell of a hire by bringing in Monk from Georgia.
I'd say that's an accidental success considering his failures.
Yeah,
with everything else, but okay.
Todd Monken, thank you, Todd Monken. Todd Monken, yeah. They that's a good one. All right, OPOY. Who's your offensive player of the year, Fog?
Tyreek Hill. There's no way.
Yeah.
Miami isn't where they're at without him.
Yeah,
and
we both
producing the way he does.
Yeah, we both picked him. Right? That was easy. I wanted to go CMC, but again, there's so many guys you can go on the 49ers with that. But yeah. Tyreek Hill, man, I mean, come on. Like he he kind of slowed down the last, I guess 3 weeks because of injury, but I mean, he definitely was easily. So this chart is right. I think this chart also has the right guys too. I think they do. I think these are the 3 guys deserving of it. I do. That's a good one. All right, let's go. Oh, there a comment right here. Wait, how is CMC the MVP and not the offensive player of the year?
Well, here's my
That's a good question.
retort to that. No, it's not a good question. When has the NFL had an MVP and an offensive player of the year be the same person? Get back to me when you get that answer.
Well, I think he meant I think he was expecting possibly one of us, or at least myself. Because I thought about that. I thought about giving it to CMC. Because I was like, CMC deserves something. He deserves something. And but Tyreek Hill had a hell of a year too, man. But because this one was tough. This was one of the tougher ones because there were a lot of guys. Even CD Lamb killed it this year. So this one was pretty tough. But Tyreek was on a different level offensively. But that's a good question. I think it's a good question. I do. I think it was a good question. All right, Fog, who was your let's see, who we got next? Defensive player of the year.
Myles Garrett, hands down.
Hands down.
Hands down. He was the best overall defensive player. TJ Watt and Micah Parsons are great pass rushers. Absolutely phenomenal pass rushers. Fuck, Micah Parsons might be the best pass rusher in the NFL right now. But Myles Garrett gives you pass rushing, run defense. He's the full package. Garrett, for me, hands down, defensive player of the year.
Yeah, I'm not gonna agree. I understand how good Myles Garrett is. He's very good, but I think TJ Watt doesn't get enough credit for his coverage skills.
Here comes Steelers fandom.
Well, look. Have you watched this year? Have you watched? TJ Watt was TJ Watt at one point was literally winning games for us. It wasn't even. It's not about Steelers fandom. It's about what the dominance TJ Watt. It's sack leader, 19 and a half sacks.
Black and yellow's coming out.
Hey, look. I'm not mad at Myles Garrett, but I'm giving it to TJ. I think TJ was the best defensive player this year, based on. I'm
pissed off that what's his name from the Raiders?
From the Raiders,
Max Crosby isn't up there.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That dude had a phenomenal.
He had a hell of a year. He had an All-Pro year. Unfortunately,
the Raiders suck. That's not his fault.
Not his fault at all. No. Not his fault at all. Not his fault at all. But he had a phenomenal year. Individually, he had a great year. Max Crosby should be at least on this graphic we have on the screen here. But I'm giving it to TJ Watt. I felt like he was a guy. I feel like he was more of an impact player than Myles Garrett. I feel like he made more impact plays when it mattered than Myles. Myles Garrett was definitely dominant. But I think TJ Watt, I watched enough games to know TJ Watt's play and his playmaking shifted games for us. It just shifted the game, right? So I'm definitely going with TJ Watt. I have to. All right, offensive rookie of the year.
CJ Stroud. I agree with the graphic. It's Stroud. No questions asked.
I'm going, and look, we talked about this a little bit on Game Winning Drive about CJ Stroud. Mm-hmm. He's great. He's good to great, right? But I think Puka Nacua had a hell of a year, man. I think Puka Nacua, based on
where he
the
was
situation,
drafted.
Well, where he was drafted, but we got to remember that Cooper Kupp wasn't even playing for what? How many games was he out? I don't even remember how many games he was out.
5 or 6 games.
5, and then it took him some time. It took some time for him to kind of even become Cooper Kupp again. So there was pretty much half the season. Puka Nacua was number one receiver. Like Cooper Kupp, quiet as it's kept,
But he had a very good quarterback throwing him the football.
Who's that? Oh, Matt Stafford.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not denying that. No, there's no denying. There's no denying that. Even though Matt Stafford was out a couple games this year, I believe.
There isn't a single wide receiver that C.J. Stroud was thrown to that would even make this list.
People sleep on Nico Collins only because they want to uplift C.J. Stroud. Like, see, we talked about Nico.
I like Nico Collins. Don't get me wrong, but come on, man.
I'm not saying Nico Collins is like I'm not saying he's like a superstar, but people are sleeping on his ability. Like just to uplift CJ Stroud. I get it. He's gonna win it. He's the quarterback. He came in out of nowhere, took this Texans team that wasn't that bad. People were acting like Texans were 0-16 last year, even though people were saying Texans had a potential or potentially a great team, had a good defense, but were a quarterback away, right? Tank Dell. I don't know what you mean by Tank Dell, man. Tank Dell was great.
Yeah,
Tank Dell was great. Phenomenal. He might, if he didn't get hurt, he may have been taking some votes from CJ Stroud, to be honest. He was great. But Puka Nacua breaking the rookie record that stood for 63 years, the receiving record. I mean, he was great. And then again, when he was drafted, he was the number one receiver on the team before Cooper Kupp got back. I just feel like I feel like he should be more deserving, but he plays the wrong position. So it is what it is. Bijan did get robbed by his own team. Bijan Robinson did get robbed.
Yeah.
like because he was on his way to winning it first few years. But yeah, I agree. None of his offensive coaches should be allowed to coach. Like, I agree. All right, Fog, who is your defensive rookie of the year?
Listen, Devin Witherspoon.
I can't.
Quarterbacks don't get enough credit, and that man balled his ass out.
He was great. I can't even lie. I can't even deny that. Devin was great. That was your boy in the draft. You said he was gonna be.
Best corner in the draft if he could stay healthy.
If he could stay healthy, you said he was gonna be him, and he definitely showed up. Look, I'm gonna say I almost changed my mind here. Actually, I'm gonna say Jalen Carter.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go Will Anderson.
No, Will Anderson wasn't there. He was good. He was. People want the Texans to do.
He was okay.
He was okay. Yeah, he was okay.
Nah, Jalen Carter was number 2. The dude killed.
Game record. That he's gonna be the anchor of that team for the next 10 years.
He's a great replacement to Fletcher Cox. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's fucking he's gonna be better, in my opinion, than Fletcher Cox.
You know what's interesting about Will Anderson? Alabama fans were trying to tell me that Will Anderson was better than Aiden Hutchinson, which was ridiculous. But Alabama fans swore Will Anderson was better. I said, no, Aiden Hutchinson's a different animal. And obviously we're seeing that now. Like Will Anderson could be really good. It's his rookie year. He could be really good, but I'm not doing this clean sweep with the Texans. People got to calm down with that. I'm not doing that. But yeah, Jalen Carter is my pick. All right, coach of the year, Fog.
For me, Kevin Stefanski. Okay, I would have loved to take DeMeco Ryans.
I would have too. Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, new head coach, new team. Nobody is really prepared for what you're bringing to the table. Do this again next year, and guess what? You'll get coach of the year next year. What Kevin Stefanski had to deal with, quarterback-wise, they literally brought a quarterback who was sitting on the fucking couch watching cartoons. Joe Flacco, they brought his ass in and he helped them make the playoffs. Nah, I'm sorry. Stefanski's done the most phenomenal job ever, considering the fact that three teams in that NFC North made the playoffs, and all 4 fucking teams had winning records.
Yeah. In the best division of football. It's hard to argue that. DeMeco Ryans was not in a very great division. That division was a mess. Jaguars choked. and the Texans took advantage.
Oh,
Cool.
Doug Peterson, I shouldn't have had him fired out in Philly. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, and given the fact that Kevin Stefanski was on the hot seat coming in, people wanted him fired. Yeah. People wanted him fired.
We even talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about it. I know. Yeah. It's incredible that he went from the hot seat to coach of the year. So that's incredible. Look, I'm going Dan Campbell. I think it's an easy. I know I'm surprised he's not up here. When I saw this graphic, I was like, where the hell is Dan Campbell? I don't understand. I'm not really sure why he's not up there. But Dan Campbell literally, look, the Lions have been a doormat team for the last 20, 30 years. And look, he's been a hell of a coach. I know he's not calling all the plays. I know he's got a good staff around him, but I mean, he's proved a lot of people wrong.
Yeah.
He proved a lot of people wrong. And he's got this Lions winning 12 games. It's almost damn near unheard of. So, I mean, I got Dan Campbell. I'm surprised he's up here. Now, the viewers say it's Ryan's hands down winning the South sealed it. I don't think it's sealed it. I don't think it's sealed because Kevin Stefanski, what he's doing is just as incredible. I mean, how many quarterbacks did they have this year? They had Deshaun Watson.
Three or four.
They have four. They had Deshaun Watson. They had that dude from UCLA, DTR or Dominic Thomas Robinson or whatever his name was.
And then
they had
that they had before Flacco.
No, they had that guy from the XFL. I don't know his name. I forgot his name. But they had four. Flacco's quarterback number 4.
Yeah.
That's all I know. The other dude from the XFL. Four quarterbacks.
And the reality is, all their losses, Flacco and Deshaun Watson only accounted for 2.
Man.
Think about that.
I think his last name was like it was like Miller or like I don't know, but he wasn't good. Wasn't any good. So yeah. I mean, from second pick to a home playoff game, I get it. I get it with DeMeco Ryans. He did a hell of a job. He's gonna have a chance to get it. He's gonna have a shot to get coach of the year, if he continues this. So I'm not worried about that, really. I'm not really worried about that. So let's see what these guys.
This year wasn't a fluke. That's it.
I guarantee you, Fogg 100% agrees with this, and we're going to talk about this probably when we do our picks. So yeah, don't worry about this.
I said that before. Forget it. I'm not, because people called me a dickhead because I said he should be going after his first 5 games in the league as a head coach for the Eagles. Oh, look how they're doing. The Eagles changed it. Yeah, because he changed the reins and gave it to Shane Stricken and said, here, you call the offensive plays. We got to a Super Bowl because he relinquished everything. Now he's back, and he's not relinquishing everything. He's been involved in the offense. The defense has been absolutely atrocious, and it's the same personnel they had a year ago, so you don't blame the personnel. You got to blame the coaching. Now everyone wants his head on the platter. Wait, didn't he take them to a Super Bowl last year? Why would we want his head on the platter? Fuck off.
Well, this guy seems to agree with everything you're saying.
I'm glad he agrees, but I hope he wasn't one of the assholes that was going, oh yeah, he's great, he's a good coach, we're doing this, and no. Don't be a prisoner of a moment. Be a person who be an observer of football and an understanding individual, a student of the game. Understand the game. If you're saying this because you're just an observer and you're a prisoner of the moment, kick rocks. If you're saying this because you felt this way beforehand, okay, I can appreciate that comment. Yeah,
Kevin Oliver says he knows he was with you. He's with you. He's been with you. I'll give you.
Kev was with me all day.
I'll give you a credit, Fogg. You were very consistent with this since I thought you were. I said, yo, your team is 10-1, bro. Like, what are you upset about? But nah, yeah, no. You be consistent with it, and it's starting to show. It's starting to show.
And when they get smoked against Tampa Bay on Monday night, and my blood pressure rises. You'll understand why.
Hey, who do you got for comeback player of the year? Last one.
Joe Flacco. They pulled him off a fucking living room couch. Hey, we needed a quarterback. He was like, okay, I'm here. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's. I mean, it's. I'm not. I wouldn't be mad if it's Joe Flacco because it's incredible. I don't know if he was out of the league last year. I'm not really sure.
He was.
He was, right? Yeah, he was in the
He
league
was.
last
The
year.
Jets dropped him. He was done.
Yeah, he was done. Yeah, it's crazy. And the Jets could have had him this year. Can you imagine the Jets? You think were the Jets be in the playoffs with him?
I don't know because I don't know if he would have been as motivated.
Okay, fair enough.
I think his personal, I guess I don't even know how I would say this, but I guess how he would feel about himself would be completely different because he was still, if he was still with the Jets, it could have been different. The Jets would have been
I'm just saying. It was bad. The quarterback play just was awful. So I'm gonna go ahead and say yes because they were so bad. All right. I'm gonna I got Baker Mayfield. It pains me to say this because I've been on Baker Mayfield's ass since day one. But hey, man, look. Hey, look.
That is a full 180 for you.
I wrote him off. And I was still trying to find excuses. I was still trying to find excuses to write him off. I'm like, yo, they're freaking. They're in the playoffs. Baker got him there. Hey, look, shout out to Baker Mayfield. Congratulations to him. Right. Let me ask you this real question before we move on to our game picks. Would the Browns be where they are right now with Baker?
No, because the relationship there was different in the locker room.
That is true. So you're saying they respect Flacco a little more?
I think there's respect for a guy. I think they had Baker. There's a lot of players that were there with Baker. I think there was a different vibe. I think Flacco came in with a more mature authoritarian. Yeah, authoritarian factor. Where Baker was just one of the guys. Flacco came in. He has a proven resume, even though it's short. But there's a proven resume there, and he understands the locker room, understands the game. I think better than Baker. I think Baker's getting there now, but I don't think they would have done this with Baker as opposed to getting Flacco in there.
Yeah, I agree with this. Baker had to grow up. Yeah, I do. He had to grow up. He got humble. He got humble when he went to Carolina. He sucked there. And then I feel like he was floundering a lot. And then the Bucks just grabbed him up. And they're gonna re-up his contract. He's gonna be a bridge quarterback for the next guy they want, for the young guy they want. And hey, shout out to him. No knock on him, man. No. And you're right. That's one thing I did talk. He doesn't run his mouth as much as he did in Cleveland. I haven't heard from Baker Mayfield. You don't hear from him. In the commercials are gone. He's just focused on football. So I definitely agree with that. So I don't know if they'll be in the playoffs, but if they let's go on to our game picks because I have some questions for you. I have a couple questions for you in the game picks. So let's go on with our game picks. Super WildCard weekend starting the NFC. All right, we got some pretty intriguing matchups right here, Fog. Let's just go ahead and start. Who you got? Green Bay at Dallas.
If Dallas fucks this up, this is where McCarthy gets fired.
I know Drew acted on game-winning drive. So you think McCarthy's gone?
I don't think he's gone, but I think there's a very good possibility with the way this team has performed this season and with how weak the NFC is. I said before, it's the Eagles, the 49ers, and then everyone else. But Dallas is that team that's right there for me. And I said that midway through the season. If Dallas blows this, yeah, there could be a very good possibility McCarthy is gone.
Yeah, I think this will be a bad loss. A really bad loss. This may be one of the bigger upsets we've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
If the Packers beat the Cowboys at home, right? Yeah, I think McCarthy would be gone. My gut would say he would be gone. I don't see Jerry bringing him back. And this is one of the reasons why, honestly, I feel like there's going to be not a lot of coaching hires until
they're going to want to see what happens.
You want to see
after
what
the
happens.
playoffs.
Yeah. I think there's some guys on the chopping block. All right, next game. We got 6-seeded Rams and the 3-seeded Lions. Matt Stafford going back to his old stopping grounds.
Honestly, I think the Rams are going to upset the Lions. I think that's going to be a big issue there. I think the Lions, I like the Lions, but I don't think I just don't think they have the defense to stop the Rams. And this is going to be a matter of coaching and quarterback. Do you think Goff is better than Stafford? Do you think Dan Campbell is better than Sean McVay? And I'm going to say no. I'm taking McVay and Stafford over Campbell and Goff.
Yeah, I think the Rams are I don't know if the Rams are the better football team, but I damn sure know that
right now.
They're hot right now, and I damn sure know that they know how to win the playoffs. They've done it, and they won a Super Bowl. And I think Stafford's going to be fired up. I don't think the Lions are ready for this. I just don't. And somebody made a great point on a podcast where they didn't like the fact that Dan Campbell, even though the Lions did get screwed in that game against Dallas, they didn't like the fact that Dan Campbell kept going for it instead of just tying the game going to overtime. And they were saying that, that just shows that he's a very emotional guy when things get stressful. So, and things are going to be hella stressful in this game. So I got LA, man. I think LA is the most dangerous team in the NFC. I think they can beat any team in the NFC. So I got the Rams too. All right, folks, your game. Eagles at Bucks.
Look, bottom line is Philadelphia has done the one thing Philadelphia has been is consistent. They've been consistently inconsistent with their offensive play, consistently sorry with their defensive play. I don't think when you watch teams, you see teams come into the playoffs, they look hot last 2 or 3 games, and it's like, oh shit. And all of a sudden, that team goes on a run. Oh yeah, that team is the LA Rams. That team is not the Philadelphia Eagles. They lost to the fucking Giants. They lost to the Arizona Cardinals. Like, come on. No, that team is not hot. Tampa Bay, while they're not a hot team going in, listen, they got everything working for them right now. They can win this game. It'll be an ugly game. Unfortunately, for me as an Eagles fan, I'm going to watch the Buccaneers win this game.
Drew convinced me. I had the Eagles on game-winning drive, but he convinced me with his post. I think the Bucs are going to win this game too. And I don't know if Sirianni will get fired. I don't think he should. I really don't. I think I understand what you're saying. I think he should have an opportunity to right his wrongs before he gets fired. I think that's the right way to do it. But yeah, man, I think the Bucs win this game. Wow. Yeah. I think, and honestly, it's gonna be a shakeup in Philly. Right? I don't know if it could be with players. Obviously, Jalen Hurts will be back, but I think you're gonna see a little bit of a shakeup. I know if this is gonna be what a collapse that would be. Man, that would be a hell of a collapse. All right, let's go to our next games here. Browns at Texans, probably the most intriguing game. Browns at Texans.
I want to take the Texans so bad, but I can't because they're, again, talking about teams that are streaking. I think the Browns are streaking, and Joe Flacco, this guy pulled off an Eli Manning one season, got a Super Bowl. I think he's prime right now for getting picked off the couch. Hey, stop watching TV. Come on. And he's making the most of his opportunity. and Kevin Stefanski is coaching his ass off. I'm going to take the Browns in this case because I think they are a better team than the Texans. I think the Texans are going to be good later on down the road with D'Amico Ryans there and CJ Stroud. I just don't think they're ready for this. I'm going with the Browns.
Yeah, I'm going with the Browns. I think the Browns are the better team defensively. They have the quarterback who will give the Texans a chance to win. Don't sleep on Joe Flacco.
Oh, he can turn the ball over.
Giving the Texans a shot. He's going to give them a shot. But I think that defense is so good. The Browns defense is it's legit. And I think CJ Stroud, and one stat I did run into when I was looking this game up is CJ Stroud is great against zone. He is amazing. I think he's like one or two, the top 5 against completion percentage with zone. He's 28th against man-to-man. So I expect the Browns to play a lot of man-to-man with CJ Stroud and see if he can do that. And look, honestly, if Tank Dell was playing, I'd probably give them another shot, a better shot, but they don't have their best target. So, or one of the best targets. So I think he's the Browns win this game in Houston. All right. Peacock game. The Peacock game. Dolphins at Chiefs.
I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, man. The Chiefs, the Dolphins are walking in.
And the weather's going to be even worse. It's going to be horrible.
It's going to be horrible. Yeah. I got you. I think Chiefs win by at least 10. I got them winning by 10 in this game. They had
easy.
No pass rush. Lost both their. That's what sucks. Good Lord, that sucks. And I know they signed some guys, some old guys, but I think this would be a monumental upset if the Dolphins beat the Chiefs. That will be the biggest upset. I think that would be the biggest upset because everything going against the Dolphins. Yep. All right, best game on the slate: Pittsburgh at Buffalo.
Well, I said it. Team steamrolling into the playoffs. Buffalo is steamrolling into the playoffs. Last 4 games undefeated. Josh Allen has looked incredible as opposed to the bum that he looked for the better part of the season. Look, there's only so much Mike Tomlin can do, and it's fucking Mason Rudolph. God, if the Steelers win, Sean McDermott's ass is cooked.
I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you that.
I would fire him. Don't even let that man get into the front office again. Cook him. Nah, I'm going with the Bills on this one.
Yeah, we're capable of winning this game because we're going to shorten the game. We're going to be methodical. We're going to run the football. It's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be snowing or I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like, but we're used to that. Like I said on game-winning drive, 3 things have to happen. 1, Najee and Warren have to combine for about 150 yards rushing, right? They have to, right? 2, Mason Rudolph has to take care of the ball.
Yep.
And then 3, he has to find George Pickens. He has to find him early. If they can do those things, we can win this game. I believe we can. I think we're going to win. But it's not like I'm taking them because I'm a Steeler fan. I believe we can win because also Josh Allen will turn the ball over. And we have to capitalize on those turnovers. We have to. If we don't, we won't win. He will give you the football. This guy will give you the football. So I think we win. And I think if the Bills lose this game, wild card, 2 seed to Mason Rudolph, I think Sean McDermott is a dead duck. I think he's out. It's pretty much over. It is, man. Absolutely. But hey, it's gonna be a fun weekend of football. This is probably one of the more intriguing weeks. We have some really good games on the slate. I mean, some teams, former teams, McCarthy going back, or not going back. McCarthy playing his old team, Stafford playing his old team. Got rookie quarterbacks. We got Mahomes, and we'll see what he can do. We'll playoff Patty all of a sudden make a comeback. We'll see. I think they're a very dangerous team in the AFC as well. I'm not counting them out, but we'll see what they can do. But it's going to be a fun slate of games. We really appreciate everybody who stuck with us for the last hour as we have made our return. We will be back this Saturday just before the game start to talk a little bit more with any updates that happen, with the coaching changes and everything else. Because we know, I really do believe Alabama will have a coach by Saturday. So I know we'll talk about that. And then anything else that, yeah.
We're going to have that conversation.
You have to. Yeah, because like recruiting started. They can't mess around with this, man. They can't. They're going to have a coach by Saturday. Easily. They will have a coach by Saturday. But thank you guys very much for sticking with us. Again, don't forget to scan and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Watch us on YouTube and wherever. Also on Facebook as well. Please subscribe to that channel. Please subscribe to BZ Sports and Entertainment. I appreciate you guys. We're almost at 600 likes and followers. I really appreciate that. Also follow Objectively Biased Sports by The Fog. He just put out a CMC MVP article today, which was great. Please check that out. And also make sure you also obviously again subscribe to the Two Man Front podcast on YouTube and on Facebook as well. With that being said, appreciate you guys. I know it's late over there on the East Coast. You guys, good night to you guys. I'm gonna go to the gym. Fog, any last words?
I hope the Eagles win. That's it. That's all I got.
Appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next time, man.